Yes, indeed, the Ganker, the winner of WoW Idol 2005. And if you want to download that song, you can. I will just find you the address. In the meantime, plug the competition once more. Your chance to win a copy, a limited edition, burned, signed, and numbered copy of Blue Please the album. Signed by the Murloc himself, and the Murloc will be up in just a few short minutes' time. And if any of you haven't heard the Murloc before, you're in for a shock. It puts the word agony back into agony ant, I'll tell you that, folks. Now, head over to wow.azor.com and look for the WoW Idol 2005 finalists. And you can download any of the WoW Idol 2005 finalists, oddly enough. I think you need to head over to the archive, the June archive, and then you can find the competition. And all the entries are right there on the downloads. I'm sure you can find them yourselves, you're not that stupid. Right. People have been asking me what the email address for the competition was. It's that simple. It's the Murloc as one word. No spaces, no underscores, none of that crap. themurloc@gmail.com. And I've had two parts of the competition. You can either write some prose for our Free the Piggy campaign, and that can be a limerick, a poem, a little story, whatever you like, but the limit is 200 words, folks. Or you can do some art. A Free the Piggy banner. There are no rules as to the size of the banner, but obviously the larger it is, the more detail you can fit in it. And it's just going to be judged on how cool it is. No specific categories, no artistic, no appropriate, nothing like that. Do it on whatever you like, but get it into the Murloc@gmail.com, and I will announce the winners by the end of the show. We already have several entries, so I'll have to read through them. If we get too many entries, then I'm going to have to wait till Downtime Down Under tomorrow, which of course starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. British Standard Time. I'm sure you can work out the rest, to announce the winners of the competition. Anyway, Blue Please the album contains a lot of the Murloc. And the Murloc is very angry this week. He's always very angry, folks. First feature of the day for Blue Please. It's the one. It's the only. It's Ask the Murloc.
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, I'm confused as to why male players insist on playing female characters. I keep trying to cyber with them only to find out that they're male. Please shed some light on this weirdness.
Aha! Cower in fear, for it is I, the Murloc, come to steal your shoes and read your emails. There are several reasons as to why your potential electronic love partner is using a female persona. Firstly, they may be gender confused, in which case you should avoid them at all costs, since they may attempt to make you wear women's clothing, which is of course very, very funny, but wrong, so wrong. Secondly, they may simply have chosen a female character because for some, a female character is nicer to look at. And let's face it, whose posterior would you rather be staring at for hours on end, Mother? Mother! Cobble up those table legs, they're inflaming my sexual ardor. Ha ha!
Ask the
Murloc. Dear Murloc, I keep getting ganked on PvP servers, and I was wondering, will I get ganked less if I move to a PvP role-playing server?
Yes. The short answer, my dear, is no, you will not. You see, a PvP role-playing server is a neat idea in theory, but in reality, everyone is going to role-play a mute, psychotic, ganking knight of death who kills players for food and can only communicate by using /spit. The Murloc thinks that PvP role-playing servers are totally absurd. You can role-play a ganker just fine on a PvP server without having to sit at your computer in a robe and wizard's hat while shouting, "Egads, forsooth, thou wretched peasant hath slain me." Only the Murloc may use such language, and the foolish imitators will die, quickly, with a row of fuss. Ha ha!
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, I'm a horde player, and when I hit someone in Booty Bay, the goblins come and kill me. Aren't they supposed to be on the horde side? Why are they killing me?
Ha 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 ha, you foolish mortal. You've seen Lord of the Rings one too many times, old boy. In World of Warcraft, the goblins are a neutral party, and they'll attack anyone who starts a fight in their town. unless you have a higher reputation than the poor soul you're ganking. The Murloc wholeheartedly encourages slaughtering goblins. They're excellent pastime, smelly little creatures. Plus, if you do it in Booty Bay, you can get a spiffing pirate's hat from the Bloodsail Buccaneers. Yarr, me hearties, let's get this bilge tub underway. Avast ye noobs, there'll be plunder abound. Ha 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 ha.
Ask the Murloc.
Oh dear. Well, the Murloc is angry as usual, and he will no doubt be angry next week, only here on WoW Radio, the Blue Please Show. And if you want to get a recording of the Angry Murloc, you can do so by purchasing the Blue Please album, which can be found at cafepress.com/Warcraft. That's cafepress.com/Warcraft. And of course, you have your chance to win the Blue Please album in our special competition. Now, I am happy to announce that we have just hit 300 listeners. 300 live listeners is a fantastic achievement, folks. Thanks to everyone that supported WoW Radio. And a big finger in the air to those who said, WoW Radio will fall apart after a month. Yeah, right. Okay, let's get on with it. When is WoW not WoW? That's the question. Or more accurately, the question was, when is World of Warcraft not Warcraft? Thread I found on the European boards recently. It was a bit crazy. I thought, okay, what was he on about? So I read further in, and it said this: World of Warcraft is apparently not as lore-filled as the other Warcraft games. Therefore, it's not proper Warcraft. This was the argument made by someone on the European forums. Now, this puzzled me somewhat, because as far as I'm aware, this is Warcraft. It certainly looks like Warcraft. It smells like Warcraft. It is Warcraft. And the argument people were making was, oh, there's no big events going on in World of Warcraft. Yeah, you'd be correct there, and the reason is simple. How can you possibly have big events in Warcraft, big story-based events, because not everyone will be able to take part? New players will miss out. Take, for example, The Matrix Online. The Matrix Online has events in it, basically. And these events come and go. Once they're done, they are done. If you weren't on at the time, you miss out. So we get to the stage of finding a middle ground, or trying to. Can we have progressive storyline in World of Warcraft? Now, I come to this conclusion that it's not really that possible. Because if you progress the storyline, newer players will then miss out on the story elements, and often you'll have to progress the storyline using big events, big exciting events that people want to be part of. And the lack of lore, it has to be said. Have you even read the WoW manual? There's a heck of a lot of lore in there. What we've got right now is a situation of Azeroth in a Cold War state. That's what it is. It's after the big wars, it's after the single-player gaming experience, which was story-driven. Lots of cinematics, lots of cool story elements. Those are done and dusted. We are now in a Cold War state. And that's often the way that a lot of MMORPGs actually operate. They'll say that they're in a time of political unrest, for instance, but it will never be a time of ridiculous events and that kind of thing. Take, for example, again, Matrix Online does not take place during the Matrix films. It takes place after the Matrix films in a kind of Cold War state. World of Warcraft does not take place in the time of Warcraft 3 or Warcraft 2. It takes place in the time of World of Warcraft, which is 10 years after. Now, when it comes to progressive story, I think, to be honest, that is the area of the expansion pack. And I've got a little bit of talking about the expansion pack to come on. But expansion packs are the time to advance the storyline, because then everyone can take part in the events. They don't have to if they don't wish to. They don't have to buy the expansion pack, but with all these rumours of Northrend the Dark Portal and that kind of thing coming around, it would be reasonable to expect that Blizzard are going to try and advance the storyline in the expansion pack. And that's what people have been waiting for. But I think these complaints that World of Warcraft doesn't have enough lore in it, doesn't have enough story in it, are kind of irrelevant, because when it comes to an RPG, an MMORPG specifically, where you've got thousands of people playing all the time, you can't have one big story, because not everyone will be able to take part in it, and that's when people get annoyed. So what you do is you have your own story. There is a lot of lore in this game if you look hard enough. A lot of the quests, for instance, are lore-based. Locations in the game, all lore-based. Big characters, lore-based. The Cold War state we're in now, the Scourge threat, that kind of thing is lore-based. It is all lore-based. And it's there if you care to look, folks. That's the important thing. So, the expansion pack. What are we going to get? A good question. We're going to get more mobs. We're going to get more gear. We're going to get more instances. We're going to get a new continent. Rumours are abound that Northrend will be in this expansion pack. And it would be reasonable to assume that. So, it would also be reasonable to assume that we are going to get some seriously hardcore mobs and raid bosses in it. And there aren't enough outdoor raid bosses as far as I'm concerned. We need more of those. They're a good idea. I like outdoor raid bosses. So we shall see. Hopefully it shall be a positive thing. But it brings me on to the subject of people complaining about the expansion pack. Now, excuse me for a second, I'm going to blow my nose, and I'm sure you don't want to hear that. Nothing worse than a nasally voice, I tell you that. Anyway. The complaints flooding in all over the place. The expansion pack is going to cost money. Egad! No! It can't cost money! Don't be ridiculous! Yeah, of course it will. Expansion packs cost money. It's a fact of blinking gaming life. And it amazes me to the core that people still believe we should get expansions for free. Unless you haven't noticed, we're getting content patches for free already. An expansion is an excuse to get a major amount of content in the game at any given time. But not only that, it's a very sound corporate strategy. It's an excuse to get World of Warcraft back in the spotlight, and that means reviews, features on websites, and more importantly, get it back on the shelves where it belongs. So an expansion is often a very positive thing for any MMORPG. In fact, for any video game. Try and test the technique and it works, and you don't have to buy it. Now the mistake comes where companies take an expansion pack and make it a necessity. EverQuest is kind of an example of this. There are several examples, and probably what Guild Wars is going to turn into. Now, if you've never heard of Guild Wars, it's by the guys who did Diablo. And they've created this new MMORPG Lite. And I'll call it Lite because it's pretty much all instanced. Not only is it all instanced, but you only get up to level 20 and it doesn't take very long. You don't even have to do that. You can create a level 20 character from the start. And the big thing about this was, Guild Wars is free to play. So what's the catch? There's got to be a catch, surely. There is. Expansion packs. The new content is going to come in the form of expansion packs. And if it goes the way I think it's going to go, and the way a lot of game critics are saying it's going to go, it's going to become a stage where buying an expansion pack is going to be essential. Otherwise, you won't be able to compete, because Guild Wars is PvP orientated. Seriously hardcore PvP. The actual PvE content is very thin on the ground. So I think my big hope for this expansion, and I'm confident that Blizzard will not screw this up, is an expansion which is not necessary, but very much desired. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. More features to come, including wrapping the forums, Imbecile of the Week, and of course the Nubcake News. More music, more chat, and more details about the competition. So I've got to work out what track I'm going to play. Something classic. Something that I hope everyone can appreciate. Something like Eric Clapton with Layla. This is WoW Radio. This is Blue Please here with Total Biscuit. This is Layla. Enjoy.